Tense legal showdown today on an issue that has divided the nation and sent shockwaves around the world.
Yeah, a panel of 3 federal appeals court judges heard arguments today on President Trump's controversial travel ban, and their decision is expected within days. Kick 9 political reporter Bryan breaks down this unusual hearing that occurred over the phone today, right?
I can't say it was tense in the courtroom.
Yeah.
There wasn't a courtroom. It was done on the telephone, but things got tense. This is likely the first of many legal tests for President Trump's most controversial executive order, banning travelers from 7 Muslim countries from entering the U.S. And today's hearing turned testy at times as representatives for both sides were peppered with tough questions. The battle lines were drawn in a telephone hearing which occasionally turned into a debate with 3 federal judges asking the questions, the answers to which could determine whether President Trump's temporary travel ban executive order can go back into effect right away, or will it remain on the sidelines for an extended period. Justice Department Special Counsel August Flinchie argued the president's executive order was legal and proper.
The executive order at issue puts a temporary pause on entry for individuals from 7 countries that Congress and the last president determined pose special risks in terms of terrorist infiltration into our country.
But things soon turned testy when the judges began firing away with tough questions.
Has the government pointed to any evidence connecting these countries with terrorism?
Is there any reason for us to think that there's a real risk, or that circumstances have changed such that there would be a real risk?
Well, the president determined that there was a real risk.
Flinchie was making the argument for the Trump administration that the 2 states behind the temporary restraining order, Washington and Minnesota, have no legal standing to bring the case because they weren't directly harmed. Furthermore, he argued, immigration law is a matter of national security, giving the president broad discretion, including the power to deny foreigners permission to enter the country. And the president's travel ban, he said, does not discriminate on race or religion. Representing the states was Washington State Solicitor General Noah Purcell, who also faced tough questions from Judge Richard Clifton, who challenged the notion that the presidential travel ban was discriminating against Muslims.
I have trouble understanding why we're supposed to infer religious animus when, in fact, the vast majority of Muslims would not be affected.
The public statements from the president and his top advisors reflecting that intent are strong evidence.
Statements like this from Trump supporter and advisor Rudy Giuliani, who told Fox News about a phone call he received from Donald Trump, who wanted to create a travel ban.
When he first announced it, he said Muslim ban. He called me up, he said, put a commission together, show me the right way to do it legally.
In their response to the Trump administration, Washington and Minnesota claim the Trump travel ban hurts the states and their residents because it violates numerous constitutional provisions and boils down to discrimination against Muslims.
We're going to take it through the system.
President Trump is vowing to fight the case all the way to the Supreme Court if it will save his travel ban executive order.
It's very important for the country, regardless of me or whoever succeeds at a later date. I mean, we have to have security in our country.
Some analysts believe the reaction to the Trump executive order has already been an important lesson for the president.
I think it's already had an impact because I think the president has realized he was ill-served by people who did not vet this properly and deal with some of the possible small problems that it caused a credibility problem with the entire ban.
Well, the judges could have issued a ruling today, but that didn't happen, and the court indicated it will be coming soon, most likely this week. But I can assure you this won't be the end of this case.
Okay, so if it's not the end, what's next for this case and for the travel ban?
Yeah, we still have a long way to go. Of course, that depends, first of all, on what the appeals court does this week. They have a lot of options, but ultimately, whichever side loses in the lower courts is expected to appeal the case to the Supreme Court. Now, that's when things could get interesting, because at least for now, the court is locked in a 4-4 ideological split as long as the Antonin Scalia seat remains empty. And right now, that could look like it's a long time coming, Lena.